Being 5:15, I call the Economic Development meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call has been taken.
Yes.
Okay, we have a couple changes to the agenda. Number 5 will be rescheduled, the New London business highlight, and the updates and reports, the business updates from April. With that being said, with the amended agenda, I will entertain an motion to adopt.
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I'd entertain a motion to approve the April 23rd meeting minutes as presented in your packets.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Tim. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is approved. Any public comment? Seeing none, move on to what is listed as number 6. Follow up and discuss future advertising opportunities on digital billboards. Chad.
And just before we jump into that, the New London business highlight, we were scheduled for have them come in today. Something just didn't work out at the last minute, but they do want to come back. So I'm going to be working with them to bring them back at a future date to let us know how New London Fabrication is doing. But to move on with the agenda, discuss future advertising opportunities on the digital billboard. As the council knows, and probably if anybody in the committee has been kind of keeping up with things, we did get a quote from Lamar to work on digital space on the billboard out on Highway 15 right by Sportomotive in Greenville. Unfortunately, there were some already, they call them flips that were already booked during that time. So the best I could make it work out for the maximizing at this point in time was to get, what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full flips for the 4 weeks that we intended to run. And then, like you can see here, flip number 3 is available that first week and the 4th week between the last 3 weeks in November, including the first week in December. So that was the range, November 11th through December 8th is what I could secure at this point in time based on this. You can see flip number 1, it says first R of R, that's first right of refusal. If that one comes open, we can consider jumping on that one as well, but they know that we're interested, and we'll just have an option to jump on that if whoever has that one kind of reserved, if they jump on it or not. So one of the really cool things was when I presented this last time, the original quote was $750 per flip for 4 full weeks. Because we captured quite a few of them, they gave me another deal, and we got it down to $600 for a 4-week flip, which is kind of cool. So you can kind of see what's available there. And the other really cool piece of this was I really haven't even advertised this much at all. I already have the school district interested in being a partner. I've got the chamber interested in being a partner, and 3 businesses in town are interested in being partners. So if you look at all that, we're committed for the interest already. So, which is really cool. So the first step into continuing with this process is I like the committee's input on what our theme or what our message is going to be on our flip. And what I'm going to do is once we have that, I'm working with Lamar right now to try to set up a meeting next week with them, with their art director. And once we kind of capture what our theme is going to be, I'm going to give that to them. I want them to kind of make the first design. And once I have that, then I'm going to go to the school and the chamber and the businesses and say, okay, here's the start of it. You know, we'll kind of continue that theme as best we can with the other organizations involved. So again, I'd like to have some discussion with the committee. What would you guys like to see the theme should be? I threw some ideas out there. considering calling New London your new home, promoting the new downtown facade that we're working on in the downtown district, expansion opportunities in New London Business Park, or something else. I guess my recommendation at this point in time, because I think we'll be targeting commuters and just people driving, I'm kind of thinking that theme of trying to get residents to come here, calling New London your new home, something around that theme, and also tying in the point of the commute time from the Valley to New London has been reduced. It's so much easier to get to New London now. So I'll kind of throw that out as a nugget, but it's up to the committee where you guys want to go. What do you want the theme to be for this advertisement? Thoughts, questions?
I guess, we kind of talked about, since we had the construction stuff going on last year and obviously this year, that'll be a crucial time to let people know that we're back open. I mean, not that we've been closed for business, but that we're through and through, to come here. And I really think that considering calling New London home is something we need to really hit on, because a lot of folks pay higher rent outside the city. Obviously rents are going up everywhere, but we do have an influx of housing coming in. Thankfully, we've got some good development going on, and so I guess if I was going to prioritize, I'd consider calling New London home myself. That would be a top priority. And then promoting the new downtown look. I mean, that's something that only gets done once every 50 to 75 years. And then the business park, we have it ready to build, and we spent a lot of money having it ready to build. And a lot of key people live in that Greenville area, and that Fox, a lot of key people that work in areas that don't have that expansion room down in the valley. There are corporate people that commute, raise their families in the Greenville area, and they maybe don't think of something ready to build just to the north of them. And we have a beautiful industrial park that's wide open, no red tape, ready to go. And that's the kind of person we're trying to hit in that short little trip home. It's like setting a little.
I just want to jump on one of your points. You pointed out the cost of housing in Fox Valley compared to here. I actually just met with a developer today. We had a big conversation who he's showing some interest in developing in New London, and he made the comment that he thinks that with the Highway 15 project and everything going on, New London's going to be on everybody's eye, because his comment was housing values is more reasonable in New London than in the Fox Valley. So it's interesting that you just said that, because I just heard that from a developer today.
As I was listening to John, it struck me that we're open for all these things. So if we did an open for ... each of the different flips, one might say housing, one might say expansion, one might say business, one might say tourism, whatever it is, that we could do an open for, kind of like New London has an address, but New London's open for.
Well, and the other flips are going to be basically whatever the other organizations want to target as their message. So like if Kim from Events of Everlasting was here, she showed interest. Well, her message is probably going to be for her business if she's going to pay for that flip by far. But to John's point and your point, we could be doing this multiple times a year. Like we talked about doing another flip or another advertisement in the springtime to promote New London. So it might be a tourism advertisement, and then the industrial park and downtown. I mean, we can, and maybe if we get that first right of refusal, maybe we can do a second ad. If we do the first one being housing, think of New London as your new home. Maybe the second one's promoting the downtown.
Okay.
Or something.
I think by promoting New London as your home or bringing people to town, I think we're putting the horse before the cart before the horse. we don't have a housing. I mean, the housing is coming. There's a lot of development coming, but is there a lot for rent or sale? I think by right now, we want to focus on highlighting our downtown. We just spent 2 years renovating our downtown.
Mhm.
Not to mention the bypass of Hortonville and 4 lanes coming all the way over. So I think those two might be want to be more of your focus. Just, hey, we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Check out our new downtown.
Yeah, I was just gonna say then if, especially with this being right before the holidays, that we're open for business.
Mhm.
That we're open for the shopping, we're open for the holidays. That kind of thing. I guess I was under the impression that we were gonna have some kind of, um, each of the flips was going to have something New London, like a kind of a tag on it.
Yep, so say if the city is flip number 4, you know, that'll be our creative advertisement, and say flip number 5 is a school, flip number 6 would be the chamber, and they're gonna advertise their message, whatever that would be. Now, if
We're
you-
not gonna have like a tagline on each of the flips, whether it's ours or not. Or are we,
I'm gonna
is my
put-
question.
I'm gonna put that in the art director's mind and see what they can come up with, if there can be some type of something that looks the same or says the same thing between all of them, to kind of, it's a similar New London theme.
That's kind of what I was thinking about the open for.
Yep. Now, whether
So,
they can come up with that and make it work, you know,
yeah,
if the school district's obviously probably gonna, you know,
so then it would
promote the
be
school.
open for education.
Yep.
You know, and whatever the chamber would be open for business, and then whoever the businesses would be open for their business, shopping, whatever. That was kind of my thought
But
process
each one
on
of
it.
those businesses are gonna have a say in what they're paying for. They're gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, if one of them is looking for employees, if they wanna pay for employees,
Open for employment.
that could be.
I was just saying with the chamber, we had a really awesome Mayfest. We got that Rock and Corn Fest. I mean, we got the Wheels on Water and the Fall Fest. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on in this town that's really awesome. They can promote that. The school, we have some really good schools. It's open enrollment, people can come here.
Mhm.
So there are areas that they can focus on in their individual, areas, but like I said, I just think the housing thing, I think we need to hold back on, because maybe next year when we do that, when we have all this housing, I mean, even Retzloff's developments are still in progress, the Swiderski project, I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming, but I think the tourism and the downtown and the fact that we're, 4 lanes to Appleton or the Valley or whatever, it's faster, it's quick, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Brand new downtown, check out New London, tourism, festivals, we got a lot going on, so.
In the
Beautiful
chamber,
parks.
it kind of works out,
Beautiful parks, yeah, and the
Yeah.
baseball and all that stuff too.
works out nice at the chamber, because this is right before the Winter Wonderland event that they got going
Mhm.
on. So I'm sure that they're going to be promoting that event in their,
Right, yeah.
in their creative advertisement, so.
And that housing aspect too. It doesn't hurt to be a little bit ahead on it, because the apartments are rented before they're built, basically. Because I know up to Retzloff's anyway, he said it's after they're building them, they're renting them. So if you get it out that there's housing coming up here, people are gonna come here and see what the housing's gonna be. So maybe be a little proactive. I don't know. Tim's idea waiting is all right, I guess, but I just like to be a little more proactive on that.
And we might not have to pick a thing. I mean, we can, something generically, if you heard the buzz of what's going on in New London, you can show our new downtown, and that'll create housing, that'll create industrial and business. I mean, I think just it's like an awareness play versus a specific demographic or a specific topic. But is the catch, I like the idea of, it's a big deal downtown
Mhm.
that's happening now. Have you heard the buzz of what's happening in town, or
Mhm.
or it's completed, check out our downtown or something like that, but I think that'll grow the everything. Is this one of the type of thing where you give them some generic ideas and they just come back and say, okay, look, these are the topics. This is something that we're thinking of. I don't know that. I'm not a marketing person.
Yep, that's
I
my
almost-
goal, to get some input from you guys. How do you want this? Is it just a general one? Like you said, the buzz of New London, and they kind of run with that? Or is it, try to promote the downtown, that is, check us out during the holiday season, or, during the shopping season? Kind of just wanted that input from the group, and then I can take that back to them, and hopefully they can, that's what they're getting paid for. They're supposed to be the creative.
I'm sure they've had other communities do this over and over and over. We haven't.
Mhm.
It's our first. I'd like to get some ideas. Maybe have them at one of our next meetings. If 30 days is enough, have them come on out. And
Well, I'd like to give them a starting point.
Yeah.
To run with, and then they can bring something back, but.
Yeah,
I'm
give
trying
them
to
a
set up meeting
direction.
with them next week.
Give them a direction to go into. I'm sure that it's their job. They'll figure it out. I mean,
Mhm.
the point's in the right direction.
We'll have to inevitably provide them with some content,
That's the
So,
point of this discussion.
but like high resolution photos and stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously we have some of that on file. But will we have a cable and marketing person by then or not?
Hopefully within the next month. I've got second interviews happening at the end of this week for 2 candidates. So hopefully soon after that, you gotta run through all the background checks and all that stuff
Right.
with whoever the top one candidate is, but I'm hoping, and depends on when they can start, whoever candidate we choose, if they have a commitment for a different job. One of them is from out of state, so depending on how long, if that person is chosen, how long they can get here to be determined. So I'm hoping within a month, we see that person.
I really like the awareness play, the have you heard, and you can combine it with her idea of we're open to, and then when we say businesses, then we have the businesses who signed up, and I feel like we could keep a common frame, like you said, with like the have you heard, we're open to, and that's like the outline. Every time it switches just a new thing, it keeps that, so it all kind of seamlessly goes together. So if someone like drives back and sees a different part, they'll see it's the same color, the same frame, they'll think, oh, it's the same place, there's something different, there's new stuff about this, not just the same one thing they saw the first time they went by.
I think it, and, we had talked about offering, potentially offering some of the grant funds
Mhm.
towards this. And I think if we said that we wanted to have a certain portion of each of these flips, say this one thing, and then within that is the advertising, if we're offering the grant, then
Mhm.
that would be the caveat. We have grant monies with the advertising under our auspice.
And I don't know if you guys just have to decide that point.
No, it doesn't have to be
Let's get the
decided
first
now.
creative kind of going, and then we can kind of
Yeah.
see, and then that's our starting to kind of advertise to the groups
I mean, and at $150 a flip
per week.
per week, that's not a lot for advertising it's really not.
I was happy to see that they reduced it from 750 to 600, and I was like,
Yeah,
we'll take that.
yeah, that's not a lot for somebody to pay for a week of advertising, especially with the visibility that it's gonna give.
well, that's the benefit. It's not a lot for them to pay, and it's also not a lot for the city to pay. So it's a really good cooperative to
It
truly,
is.
the community's always said, we've always asked, what can we do to help? And here's an opportunity to, for
Exactly.
those who are looking for help, will absolutely have the opportunity. And maybe it becomes overwhelming to where we get 15 places that want it. I mean, then that's another beast, another nut to crack.
Yeah, yeah. What a horrible problem to have.
I don't know, that'd be a selection process.
Yeah, it would be.
So I don't know. I like the idea of keeping it generic, let them have some ideas. Yes, we can throw the ideas of downtown and they can come in and maybe have some ideas on what to do and how to tie it in, and maybe it's a logo of, it's a big sign, but you only have so much time to see it and read it, so
Yeah.
they'll
that's
have that criteria. I'm sure it's so many words and so many whatevers.
Mhm.
That's personally what I would go with.
So if I'm hearing, then nod your head if this is the direction, we're gonna hold back in the housing end of it for now. We obviously want to promote that, probably down the road, but for now, I'm gonna give them kind of a direction of maybe a generic statement, you know, we're so close to them, maybe can you incorporate the downtown with that, with the project? I'm just gonna throw all that at them and see what they can kind of come up with. That's what they're getting paid for, be the art director, you know, kind of around those.
I like what Carson was saying. Have you heard, have you heard of there's been a lot of stuff going on lately. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
over the years, I mean, New London's really kind of got a buzz right now, and that theme of like, have you heard of the buzz in New London, and then also incorporate, hey, the new downtown and how close we are now with, bypassing Ortonville and the 4 lanes and,
Yeah, there's a segment of people who will be coming from whatever that area is, going to Greenville, and they probably haven't even traveled down the new 15. So that segment's coming up here, and then they reside in the Greenville area,
Mhm.
and maybe even some in Hortonville, so haven't even ventured on, so if we could tie in. I don't know, that's what they'll tell us, the new path to New London has been shorter than ever before, I don't know.
There's a lot of ways you can target this.
Yeah, and I'm sure they could say the most with the least amount of words.
Cool. So if you're cool with all that, I'll throw all that in and see what they can come with.
Sounds good. Any other comments on the advertising opportunities? Okay, hearing none. Discuss and consider hiring Ellers to create project plans to expand TID number 5 and create a new TID number 7 near the new Aldi's development.
All right, so continuing on that discussion of growth. One thing I'm actually gonna start with, I think, TID number 7 option. So as everyone knows. There. Let's start on the north side. We're gonna talk about around the new Aldi's development. And actually want to turn that back off. So as everyone knows, up on the north side, this is the parcel right here that Aldi's is developing. And you can see there is quite a bit of vacant property around it. The property, well, they must have it already divided. So you see these 2 parcels. Aldi's is here. They must have subdivided that already. And so this is the northern parcel that they're going to be selling. This parcel down here, can you guys see the lines very well? Okay. This parcel down here is owned by Ascension. And so you have all these other parcels throughout here that are open. And they do have the right of ways already defined in here. So the roads are already defined, but obviously not developed at this point in time. There is sanitary sewer that runs parallel with Shawano Street with these parcels. So these western parcels should be able to easily connect to the sanitary sewer. However, any of these eastern parcels over here, we would have to do some more infrastructure for that. But there's also a water main that runs through this right-of-way section throughout here. So either side can connect to the water very easily. So we do have some infrastructure there. But obviously, if anyone wants to develop in here, we're gonna need roads. We're gonna need more infrastructure. Aldi's does have a road, a driveway that they've gotten approval with the county to come off of Shawano Street directly. However, internally, we've had discussions that we're not too keen on having another driveway for this northern parcel just come off right on Shawano Street because it's so close to this intersection. We would prefer that this parcel actually comes off to the north on we're assuming that this would be called Partridge Drive right through here as well. That they come through here and then they get to the intersection, which would be more of a funneling scenario instead of coming off of here, but then you got a driveway and an intersection right next to it. That's not ideal situation there. But we're gonna have to start talking about developing these roads through here if we want to see this develop. So one of the ways we could do that is, we could either just bond for it and pay for it throughout with taxes, or we can do TID district like we've done in some of the other developments throughout the city. One of the benefits of doing a TID this year yet is that all these is being developed and they did not ask for a TID increment grant. So we're not giving them any increment, and if we create the TID, we can capture 100% of their increment in the new TID district and put it directly to the roads instead of having part of it go to a grant towards them and part of it going to infrastructure. We can put 100% that of their increment, capture their increment to the development. If we wait and lose that, then we would have to wait for more developments to come through here to capture that increment to finance the roads. So again, trying to do it now sooner than later, we will capture the increment from the new Aldi's development to help us with that infrastructure. So that would be development. The first development talked about potentially TID number 7. We would also look at maybe expanding it out in this area. You're supposed to have several different opportunities for either housing and a commercial. Instead of targeting just one, it's better to be targeting different type of land use or zoning uses. So we might even, throughout this process, maybe put this in the TID as well up here. We would determine that in the process when we create the TID, but number 1 would be consider creation of a TID on the north side. The second request would be if anybody attended the Plan Commission meeting last week. We have a potential developer looking at developing where the old Pump 24 was and at the corner of Spring Street and Lyman. They brought a conceptual design for doing, actually I've got the designs here. This would be facing south, or this building front would be facing north towards the river. The concept is to do a first floor commercial, whether it's retail or professional business, like a lawyer or attorney or something like that, to be determined. But they would do commercial on the first floor and then 3 floors of residential. And then on the south side, this is another picture of that front-facing, north-facing building. Again, north-facing building. Another picture from the other side. Now we're wrapping around on Wyman Street. They would have potentially some garage spaces in the middle to share. This would be the southern parcel, conceptually. No retail, just 3 floors of residential. So this would be a 6-plex development. I do have an aerial of what that would kind of conceptually look at. So this would be the north one that would have the first floor retail. Then you've got several areas of parking, some garage parking, and then this would be that 6-plex facing south. Plan Commission did bring up some concerns with parking, so they're going to go back and think about that more about parking. This concept needs to go through some Plan Commission for some conceptual use considerations. But the reason why I'm bringing it up now is that the developer has said right off the bat that they are going to be asking for a TID grant or consideration of a TID grant to help with the development. And then I want to turn on the increment, the tax boundaries. So the green that you see on the screen right now, that is the existing TID number 5. It's got some old layers. These are some old TID districts that have been closed out. So just concentrate on the green part of it for now. So hypothetically, we can consider extending the TID district to include these 2 parcels to capture their new increment, and then potentially consider a increment grant to that developer. So in your packet, to get back to the agenda packet, in your packet, we have a project plan proposal from Ellers, who we use for all our financing, to create potentially TID number 7, and then also amend TID number 5 to include that new residential development. the cost of that, and you can see in their proposal, all the details of what they would have to do to make these project plans and send them to the state for approval. Creation number TID, it would be a $17,000 project. If we amend number 5 and do it in the same timing as TID number 7, we can save some money because they'll be coming to the same meetings and doing some of the same work. Like they said here, if we don't end up doing TID number 5 and TID number 7 in the same timeline, then TID number 5 would have the same full fees as it would be to create TID number 7. And yes, the increment from the TID district does pay these fees. So we would pay them up front, but the increment for the TID pays this back. So the cost of this would be paid through the TID, not through tax dollars. So that's the consideration right now, is to continue and make a recommendation to council to consider hiring Ellers to look at creating TID number 7 and TID number 5. Lots of things need to be done in between there. If say we get to phase 1 to one of these and we decide that nope, it's just not going to work out to either extend it or create a TID, then we do not have to continue with phase 2 and phase 3, and you would only be responsible for phase 1 of those costs at that point in time.
Chad, go back to that TID 5, the green map.
The green map?
Yeah.
Yep.
So if I'm trying to read that from here.
Mhm.
Is that old library included? Yes, that is included in it.
The library is here.
The old library, the lot, that
This
one.
lot?
Yep,
Yes, that's already in the TID.
okay.
And
When you had it up before, I wasn't
I've
quite sure.
made the new owner, which we close on that tomorrow, actually. I've made Jeff aware of that, so if he's interested in a project to partner on, now's the time to talk about it. This TID is only open for 20 years, and I think it was. How long have we had this? We had this for 2 years already? I think we've had this for 2 years already, so another 18-ish years. So we don't want, and I made it crystal clear that we really can't have any type of benefit waiting 10, 12 years and then doing something. We've only got so much time that we can jump on board with projects and designating them in the TID.
I just want to make sure that for extending the other area that was in there for sure, you know.
I know I talked to the developer of the one that wants to add to TID number 5. And I told him, I said, one, there's no retail space on that side. You got the bottle shop. And then you got, I mean, there's like bars and stuff on that side, but like on that side of the river, there's nothing. I'm like, so to have that, you know, retail space underneath, that'd be kind of clever because you got all those apartments going in across the way. And it'd be so close for, you know, a shop to go into.
All this walking distance.
That as well.
Through here.
And I believe he's doing 3-bedroom units, right?
I think there were 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, that's what he was
I haven't
telling
seen
me.
them.
So, I mean, you got all those 1-bedroom units over on the Swiderski project. So I think that's very attractive for New London, you know, to help them out as a city. I think that would be wise as well. As far as TID number 7, didn't Grievenau do some kind of expansion this year as well? Can we get them in the TID to capture some of that revenue?
Too late.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
Okay.
So how that works is that it would be the first of the year to see, you know, what the development is, and then you look at, you know, now that I say that, let me look into that, because when did they break ground? Was that last year or was it this year?
I think that was this year.
Let me look into that.
So yeah, I just wanted to ask if that was, you know, put them in the TID too, and then you got development to
remember.
put into that TID.
We are, they're here, right?
The veterinary clinic's expanding.
They're right next to Crystal Falls.
Yeah.
Good idea. Let me look into that.
I also like that retail. I mean, it'd be a nice little pop-in food place, you know, for all apartments.
Right?
Yeah, it really would be. I mean, it's
Somebody
right
else.
next to the vet, and then you've got Charlie with his repair shop there at the other end of the block. So it's kind of a nice place to put another little business area.
I think them will fill up
How many
fast.
actual TID districts does the city have right now?
We have 3 open ones. So if I go back to the map. You can see that 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3. There's an ER TID. This is a environmental TID. So that's a little bit classified a little bit different. That was by Simmons over there, and I'll show you on the map. But then there's 3 TIDs that are closed, and then 4, 5, and 6 we just opened up recently. So there was a huge one. You can see the big one at one point in time was on the north side. That was all a TID at one point in time.
In other words, there's nothing over by Simmons where Hilkers is gonna put that addition on.
No, not right now. This was the ER TID, this little one right here. And that was an environmental cleanup. It was a TID created for that cleanup. So there's nothing over here for his expansion right now. And I don't think we can extend this one over here. I don't think we can cross the county line. I think that was another caveat. No, this one across the county line. I'll have to talk to the consultants again, because I thought when we created this one, Ellers was saying we couldn't cross the county line, so maybe the laws have changed when this was created way back in the day. So this is the one we have for Retzloff's development right now. And then we also have this orange one right here. This brown one is closed. So this orange one is the one that's open right now.
I mean, it would be kind of nice if we could extend number 5 over to the Simmons property. Hilker out with them 2 additions he's putting on.
Let me ask about that. All I can do is ask and see. See if the laws have changed since then. When this red one was created.
So would the money come out of the economic development fund to hire them initially? Or, I mean, you came to this committee for this, I was just wondering.
Judy, I think usually takes that out of, some project fund. She creates an account for the
Okay.
TID and, she'll take the funding out of that, but then she'll put the money back in to pay ourselves back over time when the TID district brings that increment in.
So yeah, that's kind of my question too. What are you looking for from us tonight regarding that?
Yep.
This is to discuss and consider. So this is just a general FYI situation from us. Are you asking for a motion from us?
Correct. So we would be asking for a motion to have council consider hiring Ellers to create TID number 7 and amending TID number 5. If you want to do both, say for example, the committee just wants to look at TID number 7 and we don't want to look at TID number 5, you would, modify the motion for that. But at this point in time, it would be to consider hiring Ellers to work on the creation of TID number 7 and amending TID number 5 for the points we talked about tonight.
Okay. So it's upon the Economic Development Committee to do the TID expansion.
You're making the recommendation to council.
Okay,
So council's got to approve the agreement to hire
correct,
Ellers.
correct.
Now, before we do that, if you check on that to see if it extends out to the Simmons property, we ain't gonna have to amend it twice.
Mhm.
Are we?
Nope. The amendment, we can change that amendment. You're just gonna hire Ellers. It's gonna be
Yeah, I
some
know,
more
but
work to do that, but I'll
to-
find out if we can go, if we can bring the TID over here. and
So
approve the document.
this motion is to hire Ellers to create the project plans
I
that
understand, that,
would,
but for the amendment for number 5 is to include pump 21 properties.
Mhm.
Well, that's not in the amendment. The amendment is for them to make the plan. And the plan can include that property and potentially the other properties.
Correct.
They're making the plans. So we have time in between. We're just hiring them to.
I understand that part of it, but if Chad doesn't find out about Simmons property first, we're gonna have to pay that price twice. To
If you
get it
would want to do
amended
in the
again.
future. Correct. Correct. So I will find out by the next council meeting, before this is approved, whether we can cross the county line and whether we can consider putting that over there. The actual boundary, you're not approving that tonight. You're just approving to hire them to create the project plan. You know, and the point of the project plan is, yes, for the Pump 24 site and over by, you know, the new Aldi site, but the actual boundaries, the exact boundaries are to be determined. So we got time to modify that.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion to hire Ellers to create project plans to expand TID number 5 and create a new TID number 7 near the new Aldi's development. Boundaries to be determined.
Second.
Motion made by Carson, seconded by John. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Updates and reports. Chad.
All right, so April's not here tonight, so she'll double up her report next week. City Administrator report, just want to let everybody know kind of economic development updates. April and I attended a downtown summit in Wausau last week, Tuesday. Very interesting to hear what other communities are doing in their downtowns and challenges and solutions that they have. But it was one of the interesting points was a keynote speaker. His name was Jeff Sigler, if I remember pronounce his name right. He just provided a great presentation and drove the point home of how important it is for communities to invest in their communities and especially their downtowns, and to make the points of making sure that things are well maintained and that truly brings out healthier environments. He showed a bunch of examples where communities didn't really care about downtowns, really didn't care about how things looked, allowed things to get run down, and how over time the atmosphere really changed in those communities, and it indicated that people really didn't care about their communities, and drugs and crime and statistically things just were more prevalent in those type of environments. So it was really just kind of interesting to see how important, at least for his presentation, how important it was to stick to quality facade standards and really promote a healthy looking environment in the downtown district and throughout the entire community. So it was just kind of interesting for that. I mean, he was talking about some communities that have really over time diluted their standards because developers put pressure on them to just, let anything go. And over time that really degraded, the integrity of your community and your downtown, whereas communities that really strive to keep those standards at a certain level, the health and they just had healthier environments. So this is kind of interesting keynote speaker from that. And the last thing I got, just a reminder, Swiderski's doing their groundbreaking, June 18th, 1 o'clock. The public is welcome to attend that event. That's all I got.
Fabulous. Potential agenda items for future meetings.
Yes, I did not have time to get the survey ideas we've talked about last month. It's just been a crazy month, so I didn't have any time to kind of work on that. Hopefully we'll get that done. Wyatt and Carson actually this morning sent me an email with a whole presentation on cash tags. And I was like, oh, I wish I would have known. I would put it on the agenda as an item. So you guys will be on the next agenda to give your presentation.
Fabulous.
You guys came up with hashtags. So I was like, whoa, I was just asking for some input. You guys went above and beyond and actually made a presentation.
Exciting.
So you guys will have everybody riveted, at the next meeting for that. So And then just other things, we've talked about scheduling the 45 billboard and then transportation, childcare, housing updates. And I think I do have EJ Metals, which is Skeeter emergency vehicles. I think I have them set up for talking next month about their business highlights, but then hopefully we'll get New London Fabrication maybe on the August agenda from there. So
Okay.
that's what we got.
Anything
You know,
else?
PJ's is still planning on expanding?
Met with the current plant manager and one of the reps from Texas. They're looking at expansion options, whether it's going to be here or somewhere else in the valley to be determined. I've made it crystal clear that we want you to expand and promote your expansion in New London, but time will tell with that. So, but they are looking at expansion somewhere in this area.
I know they want about 15 acres.
Mhm.
Cause when we bought our brush truck, I talked,
And hopefully they'll be talking about that when they come next month.
Anyone else have any potential agenda items to add to our list? Okay, review the next meeting date. Our next meeting date would be June 25th.
Mhm.
Anybody have any conflicts with that? Okay. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any objections? We are adjourned.